The late Michael Hutchins and his band In Excess. Taste it. At 9:04, it's my guest of the day.
This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Hrishi K.
Radio 1.
Nawaz Singhania has really made a name for herself, carved a niche for herself in the sphere of wellness and fitness, and she's really the last word as far as wellness and fitness is concerned in this country, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome her onto the show. Hi, thank you for rolling by.
Hi, Hrishi K. Thanks for having me in.
1992 to now, that will make it over 2 decades. Talk me through the body art journey. What did you start with? How much have you evolved? A bit of the story.
Well, I was 21 when I started, and we complete 25 years next year, actually. And I first started with an aerobic studio and gradually built that up into a variety of routines which were not available here in the country. And as that grew, then over the years, I added on a gym, a Pilates studio. Our Pilates studios, by the way, are the first ones in the country, equipment-based. And then started another center, duplicating all of that, added on aqua aerobics, we have personal training, we have a lot of interesting fun stuff happening that you otherwise don't find around.
I'm also given to understand that through this journey, you also constantly kept upgrading your own skills, which I think is pretty spectacular because most proprietor owners turn around and say the business is in good hands,
No.
I'm running it well, but you've kept upgrading that.
No, you have to, and I master train all of our staff as well. I handpick them, I master train them. That's a constant endeavor, it's a constant process. You're always I'm always trying to bring in things that are new, things that are cutting edge, things that are not even out there. Our own inventions, so it's very important to stay on the edge of it.
Mm-hmm. So now with both the facilities, how many trainers in all? Would you have a count?
Probably about 20 of us or so, and spread over the gym, the Pilates hub, the aqua aerobics, the aerobics, personal trainers, all of them.
It must be heartening to know that this new India now is with the younger generation coming through. There's a lot more awareness in fitness than there used to be, for example, a couple of decades ago. How much have you seen that evolve?
That is true. However, well, sadly, or I don't know, not so sadly, either ways, people don't get past the fatness issue. It's really not the fitness issue, it's about the fatness. So, there are 1,000,001 benefits of exercise. The list is really long and really heartening. It's very motivating to look at it. But people don't get past the first 2 items, which is what? Which is fat loss and inch loss and toning at best. Beyond that, I don't care. They're not too bothered about health or, other issues, self-esteem, confidence, sleep, so on and so forth, which are very important as well. But that's okay. Part of the territory, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay, it's some reggae in the form of Big Mountain and Get Together. More Nawaz Singhania. I had a very interesting article in the midday that happened on the Sunday midday. I'm going to revisit that with her. Big Mountain's the same band that put out their reggae version of Baby I Love Your Way. This is Get Together at 9:10. Nawaz Singhania is in conversation with me about fitness and a whole lot more. Okay, at Body Art, like I said, interesting article that I read on the Sunday midday. Your water aerobics program. That's also been around
aerobics,
for as long as the gym has been around, or did you kick that in a little later?
No, that's been around for the last 9 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what mix of people do you see coming in? People of
you
all ages?
see, absolutely, yes. But you see a very, very interesting population coming in there because people who are pregnant, who have any sort of musculoskeletal issues, back problems, cervical, knee, ankle, so on, hip replacement cases, knee replacement cases, things of that sort come in a lot. And for the reason for that is that 90% of your body weight is borne by the water. You're very buoyant when in water. And therefore, it makes it extremely safe and extremely effective. People who otherwise are ill-advised to exercise on land because of their issues are always told to get into the water because they need very weight-bearing sort of activities. And therefore, to see these people, improve their health issue, reverse their problem, get rid of their weight, is very soul-satisfying for us as trainers.
Mm-hmm. And there's an interesting picture of you actually outside the water and actually running them through a program. I'm given to understand there are a few props also which are used.
Yes, usually instructors are deck instructors and not pool instructors. Because once you're in the pool with your members and you're on the same level, they can't see you for both reasons. They're on the same level. Plus, you're in the water, so what do you see? Yes, there are a lot of props that are used, things like aqua noodles, aqua bells, which are pretty much like dumbbells, but they're made of styrofoam. Things like balls, aqua gloves, those are duck webbed sort of gloves with the fingers cut off, so that you really get to work through the water and work the upper body a lot more effectively. A lot more cardiovascular benefit in that case.
I remember my mother telling me, I mean, she's a senior citizen, they live down south, that she was asked to do this for her arthritis, and she did join a program. Does that mean if you have people with ailments, you segregate them and have a special class, or everybody comes together irrespective of their ailment?
Rishikesh, usually when people go to a fitness center, they're recommended to join the gym because many fitness centers don't have anything else to offer other than the gym. So it's a one medication for all sort of a situation, which is obviously not ideal. Yes, depending on a person's age, their fitness level, their goals, their health problems, their previous activities or the lack of them, we therefore subscribe what is ideal for them and what is best avoided. So yes, very much we will tell people what is preferred for their personal situation, and then they join up accordingly.
Please go and check out www.bodyart.in. Interesting site. It pretty much gives you all the stuff that's available at both the centers, and a little more about what Nawaz is talking about. We're going to take some messages and come back. Meanwhile, we'll do some pictures and put them up on Twitter and Facebook for you guys to see Nawaz in studio. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask in those platforms at HRISHIKAY on Twitter and facebook.com/radio1.mum on Facebook, or one space you query a name to 53650.
94.3 Radio 1. Radio 1.
Nawaz Modi Singhania is my guest of the day, and she's going to be with me till 10 a.m. And thank you for all the questions that have started coming in. We are going to take them by and by. Okay, your dad, one of India's foremost solicitors, where did fitness come in? Yeah.
Well, I was young. I was about 20 years old and still in college and wondering what I was going to do next with my life. And I was, initially, I was a very tiny, puny little child. I was very weak, and I was the smallest child in my class. I was pretty much the first or the second child standing in height order. It was funny almost funny, because every time the school PT or PE instructor would take our gym class, and kids had to do somersaults or cartwheels or whatever, and it was my turn, he would look at me and just say, "It's okay, just move forward, forget it." And I always wanted to be different. I wanted to be stronger. I wanted to be not that tiny and puny. So it fell into order then that as I was in my late teens and then closing 20, I started working out at a particular place, an aerobic studio that was at Kamadia Road at near Breach Candy in Bombay. And it was possibly the only place around I can think of other than a Talwarkar's. I don't think there were any other fitness centers around. And the trainer was just god-awful. She would be really rude and really grumpy, and she was everything that, I imagined I would never want to be at the time when I was courting the idea in my mind of possibly wanting to get into fitness myself. My father had space in his building, and I always wanted to work for myself. I'm very creative. That's my bent of mind, even in terms of my art, etc. So I wanted to somehow put all of that together. And the other option, of course, as you said, was law. It wasn't really a woman's field, more so in those times, and it didn't really excite me. I did my law, however. I am a law graduate, but I never intended to practice. More so a matter of kind of leaving the door open just in case. And also I didn't want to disappoint my father by not doing law. My brothers are lawyers as well, so it was kind of the expected thing. And I'm very glad I did it, because it's helped me and continues to help me in every single sphere of my life. It just helps you think differently, speak differently, all of it. So anyway, having gotten into fitness, I first started with the studio, and then, as I explained, grew from there.
It's quite an interesting story. There's another story. Like I do a car show with Hormaz Sorabji. He's also a dear friend
He's
of
a dear
Gautam's.
friend of Gautam's as well.
And he was talking about, again, a family of lawyers, because you're saying
That's right.
Soli Sorabji, his
Yes,
sister Zia. He
Zia.
says he was ostracized. He was the black sheep of the family. And he said, no, I'll go and start a garage unit and, work on cars and things
Well,
like that.
yeah, well, maybe the male expectation is different, and maybe cars are a little more out there. I don't know, but no, I'm certainly no black sheep of the family. I'm, it's clearly the white sheep, or maybe no sheep at all. I don't know, but yeah.
Wonderful. More conversation up ahead. It's Tina Cousins and Mysterious Times. A dance floor staple in the early 2000s, Tina Cousins, DJ Sash, is Mysterious Times, in conversation with Nawaz Modi Singhania.
This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Hrishi K.
Radio 1.
Okay, some of your questions. Rishikesh Desai. Is there a natural way to boost strength in a man naturally? Nawaz.
Interesting question. Well, sorry, but the answer isn't easy. It is going to have to be workout. Do it correctly for strength training, which means the various ways of doing it, but the most traditional and known method would be to get into the gym and pump those weights. So if you're looking at strength categorically, it would have to be heavier weights, less reps, gradually build it up and keep overloading over a period of time. And of course, work on your diet. It needs to be streamlined. It needs to be a higher protein-based diet. And there are lots of sources of protein. Even if you're Indian vegetarian, there are still ample sources. So get that in. You do not need to, ideally, don't please start taking protein shakes and, supplements of that sort. They have a lot of side effects and really are not required unless you're training for heavy competition.
Even whey protein, which is the skim.
Not a good idea. Protein, firstly, even Indian vegetarians get 2 to 3 times more protein than the body requires, which is very heavy, one, on the kidneys and the liver. It's also a problem because excess protein is immediately turned into fat. Yeah, so that's even if you're a vegetarian. So you really don't require it unless you're training for, heavy duty competition, or if you just generally want to get fit and strong, don't take it.
And simple veg sources of protein would be what? Would be
Veg sources would be your dals, rajma, beans, sprouts, milk
Paneer?
products. Yeah, milk and milk products.
tofu milk products.
Correct. So tofu, cheese, paneer, all that would fall into it. So there's still ample you can do there.
Anurag Iyer, question to Nawaz. Safe measures for workouts in summers.
Very good question again, because people don't take the measures and end up having problems. Firstly, always drink a lot more water generally during the summer. When it comes to fitness, this is called hyperhydration, where you focus on hydrating a lot in advance. You try and the point is that when you sweat during your workouts and you lose a lot of water, the heart rate very rapidly increases and moves outside of what we call the fat burning zone, which is very important because very important to stay within, because that is where the body is burning fat in inches. When you're below that zone, you're wasting a lot of time and not burning anything. And when you're above it, again, you're burning other sources of energy but not fat. For example, things like glycogen, quick energy, phosphagen systems, which are all great for health and fitness, but do nothing for fat loss and inch loss. Also wear lighter clothes, physically lighter clothes in terms of, thickness of clothes, lighter colors. So avoid the blacks. All these dark colors attract heat. So go with lighter sort of clothes, pastels, whites, etc. And make sure that you're wearing cottons rather than synthetic fabrics. So synthetic fabrics like lycra, nylon, spandex, polyester do not allow the body to breathe easily. So you sweat, but the sweat is trapped between your skin and the material that you're wearing. You end up, therefore, being very overheated. You're not able to get rid of the core temperature that you build up. And therefore, like an overheated car, you just kind of stall. You're not able to function any further. Cotton, on the other hand, allows the skin to breathe through and through, allows you to sweat and the skin to breathe through and through. So it's the preferred option. And of course, try and exercise in a cool environment. If it's an AC room, far, far better.
Some people believe that they're losing more calories when they sweat. So they purposely come and switch off all the ACs and the fans. You don't advocate that at all.
Okay, so tell me, are you losing a lot more calories when you scream and shout and are really angry because your heart rate is through the roof, you're probably sweating? Or when you're extremely upset for any reason? No, you don't. If I just put you out in the sun and you're just standing there doing nothing and your heart rate is through the roof and you're sweating away profusely, are you burning a lot? No, you're not. You're burning precious energy. That doesn't mean they're fat calories. There's a big difference.
Makes sense. A final question before we go into song. Are fat burners safe, and are there any natural fat burners?
Fat burners are not safe in as much as they increase your pulse, your heart rate, your basal metabolic rate, which has cardiac and implications in your blood pressure. It's best avoided, therefore. Also, after a while, you plateau out. The body doesn't take cognizance of it for too long. You kind of get immune to it. There are some natural fat burners. So herbal teas, for example, cinnamon, for example, some herb spices are very important and good for you. But really, they're all going to give you a boost to a very minimal extent, not to the point where you're going to burn fat and hinges the way most people want to. For that, again, sweat it out means sweat it out. There's no easy way of sweating it out. You just have to get in, work out, and be regular about that, and be regular about be disciplined about your food habits and your lifestyle.
And cinnamon, as in cinnamon in warm water, or cinnamon in water, or just eaten?
Cinnamon generally. So you may even sprinkle it over your coffee, or have it any which way. It really helps. In a lot of baking products, you have cinnamon. So and it tastes great.
Wonderful. Phil Collins, Who Said I Would? More conversation. Nawaz Modi Singhania aap hai. A Phil Collins album called No Jacket Required, which also had Susudia. This is the album opener. It's called Who Said I Would. Nawaz Modi Singhania is in conversation with me. Rohan Kanchan gives thanks to you. He says, glad to hear no to whey protein and others. I worked out without any all these years. And natural has benefits when you're older. Fabulous stuff. Okay. Actually, it happened because the Phil Collins song was playing, and your husband Gautam told me that he first saw you at RG's, the discotheque at Marine Drive.
Yeah.
And as is often the case with couples, you ask my wife about our first meeting. You ask me about our first meeting. Sometimes there'll always be a difference.
In the story, yeah.
So
as in life.
As in life. So tell us how it happened, yeah?
Well, okay, so this was RG's, which is now, I think, the new in the Intercontinental Hotel. So at that point in time, it was RG's, and it was in the Natraj Hotel, which happens to be the next building from my fitness center now. And I'd gone with a bunch of, 18, 20 friends or something, and we were all in college, and I was dating somebody else at the point. And we walked in. It was somebody's birthday in our group. My husband saw me sitting at the bar with a friend who he knew as well. And he tells his friend who he was standing with from a distance, see that girl at the bar in the short white skirt and the blazer, I'm going to marry her. And he didn't know my name, he didn't know who I was, he hadn't been introduced to me, nothing. I joke that, he must have been saying that about every girl, and then finally he got one. But that wasn't, of course, the case. And he then he made sure he got introduced to me through that common friend. And then he just stuck around the whole evening and said, come, I'll take you. I mean, he talked about his drive. It was a funny conversation to begin with because, he started asking me a little bit about me. And I said I was in college, I was in Xavier's, I was in my last year. What was I going to do next? I spoke to him about, my dreams of, at that time, starting body art. And I asked him his last name and where he lived. And my friend nearly kind of fell over from the chair and fired me later. This is Gautam Singhania. You don't ask him his last name and you don't ask him where he lives. And I said, well, I still don't know, so I still have to ask him. And, 20 and a lot stupider. Anyway, and at that point, he said, I stay at Breach Candy, the Raymond showroom building. Of course, I knew it, but I was cheeky then as I am now. So I said, no, I don't know it. Where is it? And, he proceeded very earnestly to explain to me. And from there, he took me and my friends for a drive because one of our friends who lived in Chembur, he said, I'll drive you there. He hung around with us all evening. I'll drive you there and I can drive you there in 7 minutes. And from Marine Drive to Chembur, he drove us there in 7 minutes.
Wow.
Okay? And my only reaction, again, then as is now, was to open the door and to chuck up. Because I'm very motion sick and these things make me really scary. So, I mean, his intention was obviously to impress me. Didn't quite work out that way. And so that was our first meeting. And the next day I got a big bunch of flowers. And that kind of took off, on a different note from there.
But does it freak you out? I mean, considering that, he's got a thing for speed. He's doing so well on the circuit. He's doing it professionally. Is there a knot in the stomach when he still goes racing?
There are knots, there are butterflies, there are, all sorts of creatures in my stomach when he goes racing. And more so this year because he's doing it a lot more professionally now. Yes, he's made a mark over and over, and that's what's making me more and more nervous. If he failed at it, I would be pleased internally, empathetic, externally, but pleased internally because naturally I would assume that he would lose a heart and, just stay more at home. But that's not been the case. He's been, he's been having a lot of podium finishes, in Europe, and he's been the first Indian to make the grid, and all of this is really giving him a lot of motivation to carry on with this, at least for the time. It makes me very nervous, very uncomfortable as a wife. I can see how his friends are very proud of him and boost him, etc. I'm very proud of him too on a different level, but yes, it always makes me nervous.
But the great part is he tells me that the safety norms have improved so much.
That is true.
Yeah, which is quite amazing. So we're going to take some messages and come back, and now Nawaz is going to tell us about the ideal workout. Lord knows I want to hear this. And I'm going to put up one more picture of her. We've taken a couple of them. I put up one a while ago, another one coming up at HRISHIKAY on Twitter and facebook.com/radio1.mum. Those are the platforms you can ask questions. I'll also open the SMS line. It's one space your query and name to 53650. See you in a bit.
94.3 Radio 1.
Enrique Iglesias, Rhythm Divine. Some of your questions are very interesting, but some of them are just downright ridiculous, I've got to say that. I'm not going to read out all of them, and Nawaz has been kind enough to answer a few of them in conversation with Nawaz Modi Singhania.
This is Good Morning Mumbai, and you're with Hrishi K.
Radio 1.
Okay, the ideal workout, something that you could suggest for everybody, for fitness, for inch loss, for weight loss.
There are many great activities that one can engage in. Walking, skipping, cycling, swimming, rope jumping. It has to be a cardio activity essentially, which means an activity which gets your heart rate and your pulse up. Cardiovascular as in the heart, and vascular as in the lung capacity, etc. are all taxed and are improved. That is how you burn fat in inches. You could join an aerobics class, a dance class, the many things. The problem, however, is that when you stick to one or two activities, very quickly the body gets immune to the same. So you will see result, but only initially, and thereafter you stagnate. You just get immune to it. And you therefore need to continually challenge yourself differently in order to be able to see regular, continuous result. That's called cross-training, where you take on a wide variety of activities and you keep rotating. Now, aside from this sort of cardiovascular activity, you also need a little bit of strength training or resistance training or toning, basically firming the muscles in one way or the other. Just a small segment, 5-7 minutes even, is sufficient. And this could be done in various ways. It could be Pilates, it could be your own body weight, it could be actual physical weights, it could be yoga. There are various ways of doing it, but that is also very important. So it has to be a combination of these two things. And ideally, if you're new to exercise, minimum of thrice a week is recommended on alternating days. So you have a rest day and then a workout day. But later, and you'll see a lot of benefit with this, but later you'll find that you do need to step that up a little bit. 3 does need to become 4 over the years, and 4 does need to become 5 over the years, etc. But none of this is going to be effective at all if you do not control your nutrition, if you do not control what you're putting in. So psychologically, we tend to feel that, well, now I'm working out, so now it doesn't matter what I put in. It's a sort of a license to eat what I want and do what I want. Doesn't work that way. Yeah. Think about it logically. I mean, you work out 3, 4, maximum 5, or maximum 6 days a week, but you're eating often 6 times a day.
Yep.
So, I mean, what are the odds? Obviously, the tendency to put on is much more than to lose. So you have to balance that somewhere. Now, it is not about starving or not eating. In fact, it's important to continually graze away, keep eating, nibbling on something or the other. But it's about what you're eating, the combinations you're eating it in, and the ingredients. And there are lots of very, very interesting ways of, making your food, your yummy food. We're not talking about, I'm not recommending things like soups and salads. Yeah, soups and salads are never... what is that? What is soup and salad? Who recommends soup and salad? Did you grow up on soup and salad? Is it your comfort food? Of course not.
You only had it when you were ill.
Yes, and all these dietitians here, nutritionists who recommend it, did they grow up on soup and salad? Is that making them happy? No, it's nonsense. I mean, you need to eat your biryanis and your dosas and your pav bhaji and your tansak. Well, I'm a Parsi, so... and all of that. But you need to make sure that the ingredients are super healthy, so that you have double the benefit. You get the emotional and psychological pleasure of eating it. And you also at the same time know that what you're putting in is super healthy. So there's no guilt associated with, that activity whatsoever.
So how do you make a healthy biryani?
Okay, so I'm a non-vegetarian and I love my chicken biryanis with my, tandoori potatoes, etc. And make it all piggy, with the onions and all of that. So the way I do it is it's a quinoa biryani. So there's no rice at all. Quinoa is a grain which is super healthy because it is protein based. It is not carbohydrate based. The chicken, of course, is chicken. That's healthy. That's good. I will not use regular oil at all. Firstly, the oil will be very minimal and it will not be regular oil. It will be canola oil. Canola oil is oil based on the omegas, omega 3, 6, which is very important.
Is it QUINOLA oil? Is that what it is? How is it spelled?
Canola, CANOLA.
Okay, canola. Okay, fine.
Yeah. And quinoa, the grain, is QUINOA. So that's how you make a very healthy biryani.
Lovely. I will ask her for more substitutes a little ahead. This is Mama Do the Hump, Rizzle Kicks, Nawaz Modi Singhania in studio. Mama Do the Hump, Rizzle Kicks in conversation with Nawaz Modi Singhania. Thank you for all your questions, very wonderful guys. Sunil Acharya, what is the best form of exercise for someone who is diabetic? And from there on, as a corollary, as for someone who is also arthritic, Nawaz.
Okay, so when you're diabetic, and you participate in any cardiovascular activity, which, as I explained earlier, could involve walking, swimming, running, jumping, skipping, dancing, aerobics, things of that sort, cycling, etc. You burn a lot in terms of blood sugar, and therefore exercise has an insulin sort of an effect on the body and is excellent for the diabetic. Diabetics are told to lose weight. Often they'll be overweight, they'll, go to a doctor. In fact, most often when we visit a doctor for something or the other, the first thing you'll hear the doc say is, diabetes, lose weight. Arthritis, lose weight. Heart disease, lose weight. So on and so forth. And PCOD, lose weight. And, the list is endless. It's very demoralizing to be told this over and over. Why not live your life in a very high life sort of condition rather than be reprimanded and made to feel less than, whole as a result? Now, for arthritics as well, what exercise can do is that two things. You lose a lot of range of motion. You lose a lot of flexibility when you're arthritic. Because of the pain and disability in the joint, you automatically start disusing the joint. So you use it in a lesser capacity. You won't go through your whole range of motion. And you therefore you lose mobility. You become, quite inflexible. So exercise firstly increases your flexibility. And secondly, it works on your muscle structures. When the integrity of the joint itself is compromised, as is when you're arthritic, the ligaments, so on and so forth, the actual joint is compromised. It needs supplemental strength to keep it going. That would be the muscle structures. So if the muscles surrounding those joints are kept in good condition, are very strong and flexible at the same time, It adds to the joint integrity. It gives you a lot of strength out there. So both these things are very important. However, when you're an arthritic, you can't do any and all activities. You do need, modifications in your workout. The type of workout that would be recommended to you also is different. It wouldn't be the, traditional gym training, for example.
Well, the logical question to ask you is, how do you manage? Look at you. You're a director at the Raymond Group. You're running Body Art. You have two lovely daughters, and of course, we spoke about your dad briefly and Gautam briefly, but then Dr. Vijaypad Singhania. I mean, the original tiger, if I could call him that, with his microlight flying and his hot air balloon rides, and of course, you're so passionate about art too. So, how do you keep it all together? What's 24 hours like in the day of Nawaz Modi Singhania?
I love my life, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So all the elements that are in my life are self-created. I put them in. I love them there. I juggle well. I get better and better at doing things over a period of time, as we all do. And therefore things get easier over time. And there are a lot of balls in the air out there, as long as you end up being a good juggler and you end up diarizing everything. It's a good life. It's fun.
And your personal diet, do you stay off processed food completely? Have you ever said, oh, that's a great nacho or a great chip, should I just pick it up and have it?
No, I don't do that. Of course, there are times when I'm stranded with nothing else except that one nacho staring at me in the face for several hours, and I may pick up that one nacho, but I'll make it up elsewhere. And that's what it's all about. It's not that we'll never be tempted. It's not that we never will be, stuck out there in the boonies without anything else to have and not make the odd mistake. We all do, and it's good. If it's not good for the body, it's certainly good for the soul. So you balance it out and you make up for it elsewhere.
I'm going to say bye-bye to Nawaz up ahead. She's going to tell me a healthy dessert, which I can have, and also a little bit about her art. I wanted to talk about that.
You're tuned to Good Morning Mumbai, the breakfast show of champions. Only on
94.3 Radio 1.
The very eloquent and beautiful Nawaz Modi Singhania in studio with me, and we've been talking about her life, her times, and in particular Body Art, which she's really, really proud of. For those of you who want to visit, you're also on Facebook. They can just search for Body Art.
That's right. Yeah.
Search for Body Art. It's an active page. There are 2 centers. You can go and enroll and basically make a 360-degree turn to your life. Okay, that healthy dessert. Tell me about it.
Well, Hrishi, I have a big sweet tooth as well. And my little secret, well, not anymore, I suppose, is that I need to have dessert after every single meal. So, and then in between as well.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of Christmas plum cake. And I have it made through the year. But it's made in a very, very healthy way for me. So, for example, there's no flour in it. There's no white flour at all. Mm-hmm. I have it made out of quinoa flour, which we discussed quinoa earlier. There is no sugar in it. There may be agave syrup. Agave syrup is the derivative of the cactus plant. There is no aftertaste to it. It tastes exactly like sugar. It doesn't meddle with your blood sugar levels. So it's fantastic. The way, normal sugar does.
Is it available freely? I mean, you can go to a website or Godrej Nature's Basket.
Well, these days everything's available freely off the internet, right?
Yeah.
It used to be available in Nature's Basket, yes, although of late it is off the shelves.
And it's spelled agave for me?
Agave is Agave.
Okay, continue. Yeah.
Or another great substitute is malitol. Yeah, Malitol, malitol.
Okay.
Again, there are no side effects. It's superb. Caloric count is extremely low as opposed to sugar. I will not have any butter used in my cake. I will not have any oil used in my cake, although they have to use some oil. So then it's going to be the slightest smear of canola oil, which again we discussed earlier, which is, the omegas, the good fat, which the body really requires. And therefore, and of course, then you have, dates and nuts and other things that, berries that go into a, sort of Christmas pudding. Or you can innovate to go into a Christmas pudding.
The raisins and the cherries stay. I mean,
but not the brown raisins, which are not that healthy, which spike the sugar and are up in calories. It'll be the black raisins.
Okay.
So, and I mouse this every day. till it's over, and then I'll insist on my next batch well ahead of time, etc. So that's just me. That's how I would make my dessert very healthy. But you can do that with whatever your favorite desserts are.
Lovely. And the art, where's that going, and what's the latest on that?
Yeah, so my last show was last year in March, and I'm working on I haven't started working on it next. I'm working on the concept at the moment. But in the next year, you'll see the next show. It's a different concept, and I'm kind of experimenting with it right now and really enjoying the process.
And the kids, are they showing a bit of fitness, a bit of interest in vehicles? Where do they stand? I know they're really young. They're 9 and 3 now, right?
When my younger daughter was born, she was born very early. It was, it was premature slightly. And that same day that she was born, we were having our Raymond showroom, a flagship store at Beach Candy, being reopened. And I was the one who had done all the inviting. We had a, party there, and I'd invited everybody, and I couldn't make it myself because I went into premature labor. And I had to be rushed in by my doc, for the delivery, etc. And I was actually cut off. I couldn't reach anybody. I was in a place where there was no network. And so, and my husband had to run in for this. He was busy. I couldn't reach him. I left messages with his secretary that, no, it's really urgent. I need to talk to him right away. And when our daughter was born, Gautam could only come later because he had to be there at this flagship store, opening, where I was not then present after having invited everyone. And the first thing he asked me on the phone when we spoke, before he could come in to see her, was, what is it? Is it a boy or a girl? Because, there is no sex determination. We didn't know. And I said, it's a girl. And he said, oh, fantastic. So I said, why? Because, we already had a girl. So I might have thought that perhaps, one would want one of each or something. So I said, why is it fantastic? So he goes, oh, because, my cars are safe now. So, yeah.
Classic.
But it actually was not the case. My little one, I think before she started saying Mama and Papa, could say Lamborghini and Ferrari.
So you probably thought serves Gautam right.
It does serve him right. And and my elder one wants to be a part of everything. So she wants to, she's very interested in Raymond and learning more about it and being involved with that. And, she'll talk, business, though at her level. She's a lot wiser than her years. And she'll also come and work out with me at Body Art. And then she'd say, Mama, now we'll paint together as well. And, all of that goes on. So she wants to be kind of a little bit of all.
In terms of fashion, are you into brands? What's your favorite? Or you just like what you're comfortable in?
Well, I think you've touched a nerve there because, no, I'm not brand conscious at all. In fact, I abhor brands per se. And I just feel that people, no offense to anyone out there, but I feel a lot of people who wear brands are, I don't know, really need to look at their self-esteem issues or their self-confidence issues. What are you really doing it for? What are you trying to prove? What are you doing it for? And, I would rather look like, personally, $1 million wearing rags rather than, wear $1 million and myself look like a rag.
Oh, very beautifully put.
For me, style is very, very different. It's about what makes me look really good. It's not what's about in fashion right now, what's in, what's out. My friends laugh at me that, you have the same clothes that you had, 30 years ago and you still fit into them and, all of that. And I'm like, that's a good thing. That's actually a good thing. There's nothing to, for me, it's a very individual sort of a situation.
My last question, describe exercise in one line. Exercise to you in one line.
Exercise to me in one line. Anurag, during one of our Body Art anniversaries, we had run a sort of a quiz in some of our celebrations. And one of the questions that all our members had to answer, and, there were prizes for the best answers. The question was that what does exercise is what to you? Exercise is blank to you. And we had lots of very interesting answers, but the best answer and the answer that, got the top slot was exercise is self-esteem.
Wow.
Because the point is that it's really all about you. It's you and your self-confidence. It's all about you. So if exercise is exercise because your wife has kicked you out or is making you feel insecure, or because your friends are calling you fatso, or because of other reasons, because you want to look a certain way at your son's marriage or whatever, then it's all externally driven. It's not about it's not driven from the inside. And what the famous American actress Katharine Hepburn, as she said, self-esteem is sorry, I'm blanking
Self-esteem,
out.
Katharine Hepburn.
Katharine Hepburn said that the only opinion that's important, is the one that you have of yourself.
Wonderful. Nawaz Modi Singhania, you're wonderful. Thank you so much for rolling by. Thank you for spending this hour with us.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
It's Hootie and the Blowfish, Hold My Hand. Mohan Kapoor, the actor, has given his voice to the Hollywood hit Poltergeist, which releases tomorrow. He's going to be on the phone with me talking about his experience. Don't go anywhere.